Hello. On June, what is this, 26th? So we're looking at Psalm 55, over a third of the way through here. And a lot of these Psalms just sound very familiar. Kind of repeat some of the same themes, which is good. We need repetition in our lives. We need to be reminded of the important things. And again, we have David crying out. And it sounds like maybe it was a time when Absalom was going to take over Jerusalem, because there's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of uncertainty going on. And this sounds very much like our day. A lot of fear and a lot of anguish or overcoming David. And he would just like to fly away. And wouldn't we all? We want to get into a safe place and feel like that, we don't have to worry about it anymore. But this, and we shouldn't worry. We should trust God. But we do have to deal with it. We have to reconcile it in our mind and think about it and look for facts and understand really what's going on and hear both sides. This is the challenge of a lifetime. Always. We would love for God to just step in and do it the way we think it should happen. That doesn't happen. It really doesn't. But yet, it's the contemplative psalm, the Maskil. I think there's one of 6, maybe 13 in the Psalms that are called Maskils. And they seem to be, think about this and really discuss this and think it through and contemplate about what I'm saying. David is asking God to help. Help me out. I'm in anguish. I'm in fear. I hear the voice of my enemy. The wicked are staring down at me and all sorts of stuff. Terrors all around me. Just confuse and confound their speech. And you know what? I think that's a good prayer. If you really want evil to lose, ask God to confuse their speech. Now, that's not going to happen every time. We may need to be clear on our end. But here's what David is saying. Confuse them. Verse 9, confuse the wicked, Lord. Confound their speech, for I see violence and strife in the city. The proud are working day and night. They're destructing the city. There are destructive forces going on, and he doesn't like it. Does that sound familiar for 2020 or what? Well, he says, if an enemy would be insulting me, if the enemy were doing this, that would be okay, I guess. But I mean, I could take it. But it seems to be a close friend. It's someone who he enjoyed sweet fellowship with, someone who he really loved, and can't help but think maybe it's Absalom in David's case. Maybe in Jesus' case, it's Judas Iscariot. He said, just let death take them. God will redeem me. I just want God, just take care of this. Let death take them by surprise. And it probably does. And it probably did. If it was Absalom, the death took him by surprise by hanging from a tree by his own hair. Judas was hanging by his own rope. Hanging sounds similar, huh? But God will hear. God will redeem. They don't seem to have any fear, he's saying. They're bloodthirsty. They're deceitful. And he says bloodthirsty and deceitful people will only live out half of their lives. And if only that were true. I'm thinking of some people that are pretty old funding some of these things. It's not always the case in the Psalms and Proverbs. Do they state facts do they state things that are actual facts, but a lot of them are kind of hopeful. I just wish this had happened, Lord. Blurt it out there. But in the end, he says, in the end, but I trust you. Whatever happens, Lord, I can't change the goings on of other people. I can't make other people do stuff. Kind of reminds me of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They're not going to bow down. Daniel chapter 3. They're not going to change their ways just because someone says we're going to kill them. There's something far worse than death. That needs to always be in the mind of us as followers, as believers, as people who have the fear of God living in us. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they did not bow down, and either did David, and certainly neither did Jesus. Just something we should remember. And he ends very simply, kind of gives it back to God. He says, whatever. He doesn't say whatever, but he says, but I will trust you. And in the end, that's what we have, right? We have to trust God. And that's really what he wants. He wants us to have faith in what he's doing and how he's doing it. And we don't always understand how or the why in the how he is doing it. But God is in control. God is always in control. And I think David recognized that and just said, but I will trust in you. Hope you trust in God today. Keep your faith, keep believing, keep reading, keep praying, and keep trusting. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Psalm 56.